Hello everybody, welcome to Flight Past, and today we are in the Huey and we are flying over France, Normandy to be precise. Over to the left there you can see the crescent-shaped bay of Omaha Beach. And in this stream today, we will be looking at the timeline of Omaha Beach. In previous episodes, we did a quick flyover just to see the key areas of the beach. We then had a look at A Company of the 116th Airborne, 116th Infantry Regiment of the 29th Infantry Division, and we saw their experience on Dog Green. And I thought today what we would do is we'll run through the timeline so we can get a really good idea of the course of the day, and we're going to start off at 2:52. 2:52 was when what was known as Task Force O arrives off Omaha, and they drop their anchor about 23 kilometers out there, outside of the range of most of the guns on this coastline. And along with Force U, which is down on Utah, at about 3 o'clock they begin to disembark the troops into their landing craft. If you want to join me, by the way, you can. I'm live on Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. I'm on the West European server, and you can come and join me, and we'll have a flight around. And where I am at the moment, let me get the flight map up. So this here is Omaha, and we're just to the east. And we're here because we are trying to locate the Longues-sur-Mer battery. And actually you can see it. It's where the white dot is right now. This is the Longues-sur-Mer battery. And at around about 3 o'clock in the morning, I believe, Pointe du Hoc, which is to our left, spots the naval observer spots the fleet, and this battery here begins to open fire, and it's targeting the USS Arkansas. So sunrise at this time of year, June 1944, it's around about I think it's 5:58, so the light is just coming up, and this battery opens fire. At 5:37, it begins to open fire as well on two other ships, the USS, another ship called the USS Emmons as well. At 5:35, we get the amphibious tanks launching from around about 6,000 yards out, maybe a little bit more. They're the DDay tanks, and they've got a canvas surround, and they start moving in towards the beaches, but the ones off on the western side, 29 of these tanks are launched, and 27 of them, I believe, are swamped, which means that the other tank battalion, the 743rd, makes the decision to move their men, the tanks, right up to the beach. We've discussed this before with the A Company of 116th. They actually pass these tanks, and they're getting swamped. At around about 5:50 in the morning, the USS Texas begins to bombard the beach itself, and at 5:58, as I say, we get the sunrise. Weather is grey, overcast with a light rain, and the wind force is 3-4, gusting 5. Sea is moderate, getting less as it comes in, but the tide is coming in at this time. The troops are planning on landing on a turning tide, and at 6:27 the naval bombardment of the beach ceases. So let's move on to the next scroll. Bear with me a second whilst I get it. This, by the way, is Flight Pass for people who are new to you. If you're watching it on repeat, this is all recorded live. I don't like to do this pre-recorded. It's meant to be live. It's meant to be the pressure of a live stream is going to be making mistakes. It's designed for you to come on board and join in conversation. If you spot any mistakes, I'm bound to make some, then help me out. If you think I've missed something, then just tell me and we can go and have a look at it. And the whole idea of this channel is that we use this wonderful satellite imagery and photographic imagery that Microsoft Flight Simulator provides, and get a real good look at the terrain and how it affects the events of history. So this is now we're at the western end of the beach, and these tanks that were supposed to be arriving around about 10 minutes before A Company have foundered out here. At 6:29 we get the C and B Company of the 743rd. They've decided that because the sea conditions are so rough that they're going to drop these guys off actually on the beach, and so they start coming ashore to the east of Dog Green and land on the eastern side of Dog Green and Dog White. If you want we're breaking up a bit here, but this is what we got here. This is Dog Red on our nose. We've got Dog White now, and so they're coming in here, the 743rd tank battalion. But as you can see, it's difficult for them to get off this beach at this point. and they need these draws. This is the Verville draw here. So coming in opposite the Verville draws, they lose a lot of their tanks. Company B of the 743rd lost all but one of its officers and half of its DD tanks. And the other two companies landed to the left. Which is more like Dog White sector. Of so the ones that was due to be landing in front of the six of A company, only 2 DD tanks arrive. And then we get to 6:30, and at 6:27 we remember with A company, that is the time, 6:26, something like that. That's when A company's ramp goes down of the 116th Regiment, and they start to try to get to shore, and everything has gone wrong. If you want a more detailed description of that, then check out the previous episode. Down to our left here, this is the Pointe Ras de la Percée. This has a radar station on it. And at 6:30, the Pointe du Hoc, which is this promontory sticking out where the white dot is here, this is bombed by 18 marauders, and the USS Texas moves down here once it's ceased its bombardment of Omaha Beach and starts to bombard the Pointe du Hoc. Let's move the scroll along. So as I say, the so 636, the 116th Infantry Regiment of the US 29th Division begins landing, and it's only A company and the Rangers actually land at their designated point, and this causes issues because the other companies became like G company. They land further to the east. There's a 900-meter gap that has developed between A company and G company. E company of the 116th, they were aiming for easy green. They end up scattered across 2 beaches, and they're already down in the area which is designated for the 16th Regiment. And G company, which was supposed to be to A company's left, they are arriving in Dog White, and there's a 900-meter gap between the two. So what this means is, like we discussed with in the previous episode, the 6 LCAs of A company, one of them is swamped on the way in, one of them is hit by artillery, and so only 4 actually managed to hit the beach, and the ramps go down. And the 4, or I think it is 4 Vistander nests in that area can now concentrate all their fire onto just 4 LCAs, and this is why the casualty rates of the A company is so high. The 900-meter gap means that the machine gun fire of the Germans is can be concentrated and doesn't have to be dispersed across the area. So they really did bite off the wrong end of the stick on that one. I Company, they actually drifted so far east that they didn't land for about 1.5 hours. This here is dog red, and then we get into easy green. And this is easy green and into easy red. So the easy red is the biggest sector in the middle, and this is where the cemetery is. This is easy red here. The 29th, the 116th Infantry Regiment, they're landed over the course of about 25 minutes, between about 6:36 and 7 o'clock. And because the first wave was so pinned down and took so many casualties, the second wave, when it came in, was initially getting the same amount of casualty rates as the first wave. But the second wave, the biggest difference was that it was bigger, larger. It was bringing in reinforcements and support weapons. It also had more headquarter elements, so more leadership elements were coming in. And so this allows, even though they were facing the same difficulties as the first wave, the defenders' fire is less concentrated and allows them to start to try to get a foothold. The tide is coming in. First wave has failed to clear obstacles as it's coming in, so a lot of landing craft founder on these obstacles. The attrition occurs. The smoke from the bombardment and the tide is causing navigational difficulties, and this means that a lot of troops are not landing in their designated positions. Infantry is scattered, and their headquarters are not with their troops. Okay, so down the other end of the beach, we get a similar situation, really. You've got this the Colville draw. So basically the Verville draw and the Colville draw, the two sort of draws that sort of mark the ends of the beaches, and this is Colville coming up here. These see the most casualties on D-Day, and this is where at 10 minutes past 7 the 88mm gun at WN61 is hit, and we are just flying over 61 now. It was positioned on this on the eastern edge of the Colville draw. I turn this helicopter around. Let's get some Huey thwop going. You can see that this we're just trying to slow here. This is the area where WN61 is, just below the nose right now, and so you can see it was basically firing down the crescent of Omaha Beach. So it was a very important gun to take out, and W61 is just to our left here. It's taken out. It's not clear actually who took it out. It's either it was a direct hit from naval gunfire, or it was believed that the Sherman tank of Sergeant Turner Shepard knocked it out, or maybe a combination of both. What was happening was that the naval bombardment was tending to sort of, because they didn't have proper fire control, they were basically trying to spot where the Shermans were firing, so they could see if the Sherman was firing up at a target, and then they would then hit that target as well. So possibly a combination of both then would knock out the position. Okay, let's head now. This, by the way, is WN62 just below us here. We'll come back to that in a minute. Let's fly off now to Pointe du Hoc. Any questions, just let us know. And this is probably a good time to just say, like, you know, if you do like the stream, then please give it a like and subscribe and help out a small channel. And we will continue our journey along the Normandy beaches. Next week we'll be looking at gold, and then we'll look at Juno, and then we'll finish up back where we started at Sword.